Karen.
Hello.
Hello, Shakri. There you go. Have fun, guys. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
See you soon. Shakri, here's your shirt. The Neighborhood Housing League is a project of the visible community that was created and funded to address specifically the housing problems that residents of the downtown area of Lewiston face. The visible community did a survey and study and a charrette process to identify the needs of the downtown residents. In addition to job creation, transportation, they saw a great overwhelming need for housing and dealing with the issues that tenants were having with their housing in the downtown area. Lack of code enforcement, lack of understanding with code enforcement.
It was like a sudden outburst of roaches and bedbugs out of nowhere. And code enforcement came and he looked, well, this is probably your fault, and left.
I see some faces that I met a couple weeks ago canvassing. I'm so glad you're here, because I think being together, working together, we've proved that we can make a difference in this community.
One of the first events was the lead and pest training, which had a huge showing of 60 tenants that came and learned about lead issues in their house and how to deal with, live with, and clean up the lead that is in the homes that is everywhere in the downtown area. And pests, which has proven to be one of the overwhelming problems that tenants are having. Really? Yeah, because then we're just supposed to turn the heat on starting on October 15th.
October 15th, that's what I thought.
Yep.
He's not letting it come on yet.
Yeah.
But nobody's complaining yet, so
Yeah.
I'm letting you know that, hey, wait.
Yeah.
Thanks to the woman downstairs who did our heat, so.
You didn't have heat before me?
No, they didn't have it on, and then she called because she has an infant newborn, and she said it's too cold for my baby, she didn't have the heat on. Then she had to call code enforcement, and then they had it on, and we haven't been out since. So we've had like 7 different landlords in the last year. Everybody keeps buying the building.
Same old generic issues. Landlords don't return their calls. Repairs, that was the biggest complaint, not being done, and changeover and frequent landlords.
We definitely encountered, the share of dirty and unsafe and not heated apartments, but also I'd say over half of the people that I talked to tonight said that they have a good landlord, who they have a good relationship with.
And it's always nice when I have a tenant who comes to a meeting and says, I think my landlord's great, I'm here to support my neighbor. There are landlords doing good things, and there are landlords really trying. I think that there's an overall frustration in the downtown for the lack of care for the housing from a lot of angles.
The electrical wiring really in many of these older buildings isn't up to snuff. We just think that we may have life safety issues. So it's really a life safety consideration.
Who in this room is heated with their stove? Right?
Who's what?
Yeah.
And they told me if I had no heat not to do that.
Well, and really we shouldn't, but are they giving you heat? Is there do you like it at 90 so you just pop the oven
I
open?
went a week without heat and I've called every single day.
Have you called code enforcement?
No, I threatened to call
Who in this room has called code enforcement? Some of the things that you can't see that I hear about a lot is fear. Fear of the landlord or fear of eviction, where they don't want to make the complaint because they're afraid they won't have a place to live, or they've been threatened already with eviction.
She called the landlord more than 100 times, and she went to their office. Nobody's coming. Then she went to Lewiston Housing to talk to them,
So you
to
always
deal the
have
problem.
to go to Lewiston Housing before.
And the Lewiston Housing come here. They look the problem. Then they call the landlord. Then the landlord come to fix it.
Leaking roofs, I get a lot of complaints about, causing mold problems. Faucets that don't shut off well.
That's all the way off. Hot water, not the cold. Both are turned all the way off.
I've seen broken sewage pipes in buildings that the landlords haven't fixed. These are extreme examples.
Yeah, so the pipes is frozen and the washer, can throw away the water.
Have you called the landlord about this?
Landlord can check that. The heat will shut off like a day and night, like 24 hours, no heat.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, 1 week is good. Then after 24 hours, then there's no heat. Every week they miss the heat like 24 hours.
You said that your electric bill was $270.
Yeah, I can show you now. Yeah, the money that I can afford my kids by doing for shopping, clothes, shampoo, for the kids, I spend it for electricity for that.
Yeah, and they're covered. There's nothing.
Marol di lagade waxaas ila karaga jiray.
Yarkad oo sheey oo sun soo qaad gacad iyo soo qaad inta qosun guriga doodan
Oh, my son, the one he showed me, the paint on his hand.
Who has trouble with trash? I do. Yeah?
Because last day I ran out of heat, and he sent somebody to fix the heat, and whatever the cost, he told me you need to pay. And now, he owed me to pay, I have to pay $70.
Got you.
No.
It is included, I don't pay the heat. They say, the heat, the boiler, is something wrong.
What do they do with the money?
It's the landlord's problem.
Don't pay.
You pay your rent with the
Don't pay
heat
it.
included.
1 to 10?
But we also really want to make sure that people have a sense of community and realize that the issues that they're having are broader than just them and their building or their neighbor in their building.
Finally, we found out about the Neighborhood Housing League, came to a meeting and met Shanna. We asked about how we could possibly start a tenant union, because we knew our voices weren't being heard.
It's the issue that downtown residents are having. And when you can really get people to see that on a larger scale with a broader view, it's easier for them to understand that if they join together, they can do something about it. And we don't have to keep living the way that we're living in the downtown, and there's no reason for us to, except for apathy. And to change that is what most tenants I've noticed and have said to me as they leave, that they feel a sense of hope, that they feel that there is something that can be done, and that they're excited to see those changes and be a part of those changes.
If there's one person, they can ignore it. If you don't have people behind you, then you've got no fight whatsoever. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.